just coming my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always coming my way.
Technically, I have two favorite vampire movies. The first one being Near Dark, and the second one being Fright Night, which came out in the year 1985. The majority of the filming locations for this movie took place on a backlot in Burbank. And sadly, can't get the cameras in there to show you Charlie Brewster's house and Jerry Dandridge's house and the street that they lived on. But not all of the filming locations were done there. They're scattered throughout Los Angeles, and oddly, nobody really talks about them. Did my research, found as many of them as I possibly can, and we're gonna go visit them today. Should be interesting. And oh yeah, happy birthday, Scott. This one's for you.
What would you do if you accidentally discovered the house next door was occupied by something not human? Something horrifying. Something unspeakably evil. No one believes you.
Mom, I didn't have a nightmare.
Not your mom.
They did kill a girl over there.
Not your girlfriend.
Charlie, is this some sort of a trick to get me back?
Not even the police.
Look, I know it's crazy. I know that, but look, Lieutenant!
It knows that you know. You'll do anything to protect yourself, but it will do anything to protect its secret. Fright Night. If you love being scared, this could be the night of your life. Fright Night.
The first filming location that we're going to visit today for Fright Night is where Peter Vincent had his TV show.
Stop, you creature of the night.
Who are you who interrupts my nightly feeding?
I am Peter Vincent, Vampire Killer.
Today, it is a Scientology media center, and it is on severe lockdown. There are cameras everywhere. I'm talking multiple cameras in one spot, pointing every which way but loose. So we got to be quick, and hopefully we can get our shots in before they tell us to leave. It's really hard to see because of that gate, but this building that you're looking at right now, just behind that gate is where Charlie stops Peter Vincent and tries to convince him that there's a vampire living next door to him and that he needs his help to kill him.
I believe in vampires. That's nice. Mr. Vincent, I am not joking. I'm deadly serious. If you would excuse me.
Today there is no horror TV show that's being filmed here, but it is an active studio for the Scientologists. And what's really cool is if I turn the camera over this way, you're going to see a TV satellite dish, which is really awesome because in the movie, one of these can be seen behind Peter Vincent as he's talking to Charlie.
I have just been fired because nobody wants to see vampire killers anymore, or vampires either. Apparently all they want are demented madmen running around in ski masks, hacking up young virgins.
The building on the left-hand side houses a store called The Last Bookstore. It's an absolutely beautiful place. Sadly, you can't do anything professional photo-wise or video-wise on the inside. But our interest is the building on the left-hand side called the Alexandria Hotel. And if you look right in the middle of the street there, it's a farmer's market. Seriously though, some of the artwork that you find here in the streets of LA is beyond beautiful. I mean, look at this. How insanely massive and gorgeous is that? Now pay no attention to the guy that is asleep on the sidewalk in front of the alleyway that we are talking about. What you're looking at right now is the alley where Evil gets attacked by Jerry Dandridge, and sadly we can't get inside it. It is all locked up. But we're gonna walk up to it and try to look down it. Here we go. Let's look through here. Pretty crazy, right?
What if you're wrong, Evil? What if Dandridge is a vampire and he thinks you know it? Would you walk down that alley then?
Now, as cool as this technically is not the alleyway. There's a funny story about this. While they were here in this alleyway filming Fright Night, the people who were living inside the Alexandria Hotel did not appreciate the loud noise and the bright lights. So they kept throwing trash outside of the windows down on the crew below. Rumor is that people who were part of the crew were walking through the hotel while they were filming and just paying people off to just go back to sleep and let them do what they were doing. It got so bad that they had to finish the scene somewhere else. So yes, this is the alleyway where Evil met Jerry Dandridge, but it's not the complete alleyway. It's somewhere else. Here's another shot of that alleyway between those two buildings right there. A wide shot down the street. I mean, just a lot of this is just absolutely beautiful, these old buildings. Talk about a beautiful day. I know this is completely off topic, but hopefully you guys have checked out Lovecraft Country on HBO. Jessica and I, man, we binge watched that show. We loved it. And hope that they make a season 2. Because of all the trouble they were having with the tenants of the Alexandria Hotel filming the scene where Evil gets attacked by Jerry Dandridge, they had to find a new location, and they did, down by the First Street Bridge, not too far from the alleyway they started off in. The buildings around this place are all brand spanking new, aside from 3 of them in the general vicinity. I've walked around and I can't find another alleyway that looks like they could have been filming that scene there. So sadly, I think it was torn down. Don't know for certain, but just being here and walking around the area, I'm not seeing it. Well, call me a liar. I was just about ready to give up and go walk over to the First Street Bridge, and I walked down this little alleyway and I went, wait a second, this looks familiar. I found it. This is the second half of the alleyway where Evil gets attacked by Jerry Dandridge. And I'll show you what I mean. If you pay close attention to the scene, you can tell that there are 2 different alleyways that were used. The one, when he first walks into the alleyway, you can tell it's a lot bigger. And then whenever he comes to the dead end, this is the alley that had the dead end. You can tell that it's a lot skinnier. Now on the left-hand side, you see that short wall, and then if we come down here, you see this other wall. Look, now it's starting to look like the movie. Now, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think right where this wall ends on the left-hand side, they put a fake wall, and that's where they had him stop and turn around, and you see the mist coming in, which is actually Jerry Dandridge. And, well, that's how Evil gets it. This makes me happy, very happy. I feel like a kid in a vampire candy store. To give you an idea of how much I love Hollywood, the magic of Hollywood, you see that red brick building? Well, to the right of it and to the left of this bridge, that's the alleyway where Evil meets Jerry Dandridge. It's not that big. And while that is happening, Charlie and Amy are walking.
What was that?
It was just Evil messing around again. Cut it out, Evil!
The camera turns around. This is all still in the same area. Now these are the stairs that go up to the bridge. But then we get this shot right here, and I'm just kind of winging it. Now, do you see that yellow band on the concrete pillar that's to the right above the SP? In the movie, Jerry Dandridge destroys a power box that's right there, and that's what startles Charlie and Amy. And you can see this pillar in the background if you look very closely at the scene. It's a concrete pillar, but there's wood on it. You can see the different slats. How crazy is that? So watch the scene and just look for that wooden slats to the left of the power box, which would have been right there.
Tell me this is a power outage.
Well, what else would it be?
Usually whenever we do filming locations, I really try to line up the scenes as best as I possibly can, as if we are the ones that are actually making the movie. But sometimes the magic of Hollywood is just so fantastic that you just gotta walk through the scene. And it's crazy. This giant building, which is now a WSS shoe store, is where they filmed the interior scenes for the Club Radio nightclub scene. You know what I'm talking about. You know the scene where Jerry Dandridge dances in that weird, seductive way with Amy? It all happened here. And you see that grate in the lower left-hand side of your screen? That is still here. And you see above the door where it says Converse? Well, on that next little divider over, it says Vans. And that is where the Club Radio neon sign was. Club Radio scene pretty much starts off right about here with Jerry Dandridge walking over to this railing and looking down over at the people dancing and having fun. And he sees Amy and he stalks her through the crowd. And then they end up doing this weird, seductive dance. But it all happened right here in what is now a shoe store. This place is now filled with shoes, but during the movie, this is where Amy was dancing with Jerry Dandridge, and she saw in the mirror that he wasn't there. And basically, she was kind of technically dancing by herself, well, the vampire with no reflection. Towards the end of the scene, when Jerry Dandridge starts to vamp out, he starts attacking people in the club, and everybody starts panicking and running up these stairs. And you can see that the railings are still here. How cool is that? Our next location is the Palms Middle School, which in the movie Fright Night is the high school that Charlie and Evil Ed and Amy attended. They didn't use that much of the school, But what they did use is a small portion in the back of this building. The scene that they filmed here at Palms Middle School really wasn't that long, but in this scene, Charlie and Evil Ed come out of the classroom on the right-hand side, and Charlie is saying, "What's the point of pop quizzes?" And Amy comes barreling through them, still ticked off from the night before, and Charlie calls after her.
That bastard! Why didn't he tell us he was gonna spring a pop quiz?
Well, that's the point to a pop quiz, Brewster, to surprise you.
Thanks, Teach. Hey, Amy.
And as Amy storms off, you see this building in the background. More importantly, you see those windows. That building's still here.
Amy!
Did you finally find out what you really like?
Buzz off, Evil.
You can see those blue poles. In the movie, they were yellow. But this is it. This is the only scene.
Oh, call me anything you want. Only you're the one failing trig, not me.
One of the things I love about doing filming location videos is the little pieces of trivia that you realize along the way. This isn't the first time that I've seen a movie use an awning like this. Karate Kid did it, as well as Tim Burton whenever he was filming Edward Scissorhands in Florida. Instead of a school though, it was a shopping center. It turns out, after doing research, filmmakers love things like this because it shows depth. Makes sense. Again, it looks like we have some Hollywood movie magic. The scene starts off on a back lot where Charlie gets in his car and he speeds off to Evil Ed's house, which is over here in Culver City. And he parks right in front of this house. Now, during filming the movie itself, this brown fence wasn't here. Instead, it was a white picket fence. But this is it. 9520. And you can see it clearly in the movie. They didn't change the house numbers. It's still the same exact one. In fact, when they show the house, it is rather quickly, and they don't show the entire house. They only show this half right here. That giant window, I guess you'd call it a bay window, now has some shrubbery in front of it, but this is it. Charlie would have walked right up, or ran right up those steps onto the porch. And with that, thank you for joining us on another Grimm adventure. This time, Fright Night filming locations. And as always, happy Halloween and happy birthday, Scott.
Wherever I come, bad luck is coming my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. A bad luck's always